Okay, so let's talk about a fun one, and this is Grignards with Esters. Now, do you like me this isopropyl Grignard? Now, if I asked you what the reaction was of this compound with, this is dimethyl ketone, with this Grignard, what would you get? You would say, well, I'm going to get a tertiary alcohol. Well, what happens then if I create the ester? Well, we're still going to get our normal reaction of, we're still going to start out the same. Our Grignard is going to attack the carbonyl oxygen, and it's going to give us it's kind of a weird compound here. So we're going to get the alkoxide like we did before. But before we didn't have an oxygen bound to the carbon. So what's going to happen next is that our alkoxide is actually going to decompose into another alkoxide. So whatever was on the ester side of our starting ester complex is going to basically form an alkoxide, and we're going to end up at first, talking about this in just a minute, another ketone. Now, why does it do this? Well, this has a -1 charge, and the alkoxide is more willing to carry a negative charge. So basically, the reason this happens is that we're changing who's having to bear this negative charge, and the alkoxide would rather bear the negative charge than the starting Grignard organolithium complex. Now, if you watched my previous video on about ketones and Grignards, you probably are already seeing that, well, this ketone should also react with this complex as well. And when it does react, I should end up with, after I do an acid workup, I should end up with a tertiary alcohol. So doesn't this mean that basically it's going to react twice? Yes. So if you have sufficient Grignard or organolithium complexes sitting in the reactor, not only will it form this ketone, it will further react this ketone to form basically a tertiary alcohol where two of the R groups are the exact same. Now, this is what you want to accomplish. Good, that's great. If this isn't what you want to accomplish, if what you want to do is basically substitute this out with a ketone, well, you can do this, but you need to do it at low concentrations, and I would particularly advocate against you using organolithiums because of how aggressive they are. So if you keep the concentrations of the organolithium, the organometallic, the Grignard or the organolithium low, in principle you can stop with the ketone, so you can convert your ether here, or your ester here, to a ketone. But if you're running in excess, or you're running in twice the equivalence of the Grignard as you are with the starting ester, you're going to end up forming the tertiary alcohol from that starting ester. So, this is your reaction of organometallics. I've got the Grignard written up here, but it's also organolithiums reacting with esters. If you run in low concentrations, you'll finish with a ketone. If you run in high concentrations, you'll finish with a tertiary alcohol.